It was not fate that brought Johnny Storm and Susan Dane together. Not this time. Their stories began, not as intertwined threads of a family, but as two separate sparks distinct, unpredictable. Johnny Storm's story begins far from the laboratories and launch pads of New York, in the bustling heart of Los Angeles. There, Johnny was the very image of a California daredevil, a professional stunt pilot, medals gleaming, ambitions rising faster than any plane he'd ever flown. But in the summer of 2018, his record-breaking attempt at the Mojave Air Show landed him in the crosshairs of a defense contractor. Aurora Dynamics wanted an icon for their prototype high-altitude jet, and Johnny, ever hungry for speed and publicity, jumped at the offer. The day of the test flight began with blue skies and ended in flames. Midway through the stratosphere, surrounded by a haze of experimental fuel and microfusion engines, a catastrophic malfunction ripped through the hull, bathing Johnny in a blinding white heat. When he awoke in the charred wreckage, miles below, Johnny wasn't scorched. He stood up, dazed, to find flames flickering harmlessly across his skin, and, with a scream, they leapt from him in a blazing torrent. Thus, the Human Torch was reborn not from cosmic rays, but from human ingenuity, ambition, and the price of flying too close to the sun. Across the country, Susan Dane was writing a thesis, not history. Her academic career at Columbia University was dedicated to the invisible, dark matter, gravitational lensing, the unseen scaffolding of the universe. She was methodical, driven, and, above all, solitary. For years, she'd been haunted by unsolved equations and by the quiet, impossible possibility. What if invisibility weren't just for photons and theoretical matter? Dr. Gustav Regermentar thought it was possible and very dangerous. When a grant from a shadowy foundation funded their optical refraction matrix, Sue was cautious, but she pushed onward. During the matrix's first live demonstration, intensive energy pulses destabilized the room. Alarms, blariv. Sue tried to shut down the system, but a surge passed through her, twisting her senses and scrambling her perceptions. It felt as if she was stretched, thinned, resonating with the energy field. When the light returned, everyone except Sue was staring at an empty stage. She was invisible. Hours passed before she learned to will herself back into the visible world. Over the next weeks, ramping up her research in secret, Sue mastered not only the vanishing act, but something stranger. She could bend light around herself, create invisible barriers, and feel resonances in the air, like echoes of unseen surfaces. Her mentor urged caution, but Sue had tasted what lay beyond the visible, and she would never be the same. 2 extraordinary transformations. 2 minds, each certain they were alone. Meanwhile, as news of strange phenomena gripped the world, a figure watched from afar. Victor Bondum, scientific magnate and enigmatic philanthropist, took interest in their separate plights. He saw in Johnny and Sue the future his, if not the world's. Johnny, now living in hiding in rural Arizona, struggled with control. It was one thing to burst into flames it was another to keep from scorching everything he touched. Media chased rumors of the Burning Man of Mojave, but Johnny's fame soon faded to infamy, then vanished entirely into internet myth. He was left alone except when approached by cryptic recruiters. One, Dr. Lucia Renton, offered him something different: help, understanding, and a place in a new Tomorrow Institute. Desperate to regain his normal life, Johnny reluctantly agreed. At the same time, Sue burrowed further into research, discovering that her transformation allowed her not just to conceal, but to protect, to shield, to defend. She was haunted by the power to disappear, what it meant for her, and what it might mean in the wrong hands. The foundation funding her work suddenly pulled out, and whispers about proprietary weaponization swirled. Entered Dr. Renton, offering safe haven and a chance to explore what she could really do. Sue's reluctance faded as whispers of fireman incidents reached her ears. Perhaps, she thought, she was not so alone after all. It was in a nondescript New Mexico laboratory that Johnny Storm and Susan Dane finally met. Their first words were wary, almost combative. Each recognized immediately that the other carried secrets to rival their own. But as days passed and Doom's gaze crept closer, they found common ground in their alienation, in the burden of discovery, and, ultimately, in hope. The human torch, an icon engulfed by flame, forged by human arrogance. The invisible woman, a scholar of unseen worlds, now able to vanish at will. Their origins could not have been more different, and yet by ambition, accident, and the inexorable pull of curiosity, they ignited the sparks of partnership. For the world, their new alliance felt like a miracle. For Johnny and Sue, it was just the beginning.